Hello, this is Aaron LeBauer with LeBauer Consulting and the CashPT lunch hour. Welcome. Thank you all for dropping in and attending today. I just want to let you all know, remind you that this is live, so if something happens with your browser or something looks funny and it freezes, just refresh your browser and come back in, and we're going to do the same here. Just let us know if you can hear us. You can type your name in the chat box to the right and let me know where you're calling in from today, who you are, and if you can hear us okay. And today I have a really special guest, and I'm really excited to introduce to you guys Lenny Macrina. He's a physical therapist and co-founder at Champion Physical Therapy and Performance Center in Waltham, Massachusetts, which is right outside of Boston. And we say things a little bit differently down here in the South, but Lenny's got me correct on the Waltham pronouncement. So without further ado, let me introduce you guys to Lenny. Thank you, Lenny, for joining us today. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Aaron. I'm very honored to be here. I know we've been trying to work this out for a while, and looking forward to chatting it up. You got a good thing going on your side, so I'm hopefully going to learn a few things from you as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So, Lenny, just introduce us to who you are. So, where were you born? How'd you get into PT practice? And how'd you get to where you are right now? Just tell us a little bit about what's going on with you.
Yeah, I was born in Boston. You'll probably tell from my my deep South accent that I was born in Boston. I did work in Alabama for 12 years, so I don't think I really got an Alabama accent from that time. But born and raised in Boston. Mike and I, who my partner here in the business, Mike Reinold, we grew up together. So we grew up in the same town. We grew up on the same street. We grew up in the same neighborhood. So I've known Mike since he was like 3 years old. And both of us took a similar road towards the end. It took a long way to get there. I went to undergrad and did biotechnology. I was supposed to do genetic research. I worked in a wastewater treatment plant where I tested poop. And I've made that known on social media that my life used to be testing poop for
Awesome.
Different chemicals. Yeah. And then I went back to school. Mike was doing his clinical in Birmingham, Alabama with Dr. Andrews and Kevin Wilk, and he was in the neighborhood, and we were chatting it up. And next thing I know, I'm like thinking about physical therapy and going back to school because I was kind of bored in my current job, or in that job at the time. And I ended up going to Boston University, did my last clinical down in Birmingham, actually with Mike, and then ended up staying in Alabama until last year when him and I began this company.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Wow. So tell me a little bit about your. So did you spend like 10 years out of college or more? I mean,
no,
when did you go back to?
Right. So I graduated college in '96. I worked till 2000, and then I went back to BU. So about 4 years, I went back to school, and then spent 2.5 years at BU. Got my master's degree, which I think I was one of the last master's classes there, and then like I said, did the clinical, and then in 03-ish, I think I went to Alabama, and then I was there till 14. Yep.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
And what kind of physical therapy were you doing down in Alabama?
So I worked with Dr. Andrews and that whole group at I was at Champion. I was actually at Health South, and then Health South had a little accounting issue back in 2004. And so we had to leave Health South, as many of you may know, and they sold out their outpatient clinics, and then Champion Sports Medicine began with Kevin Wilk and a couple other guys, and they sold out to a bigger group about a year later. So I was at Champion Sports Medicine with Mike, and we did a lot of orthopedic, sports medicine, a lot of post-op. So my career has been a lot of post-op from Dr. Andrews and that whole group, which was right upstairs with a floor up from us. So a lot of sports medicine, a lot of athletes, professional athletes, college athletes, high school athletes, you name it, we saw it. Who's who, we could be working with Kenny Chesney and Drew Brees and half the Alabama starting lineup for the football program, all in the same room next to a knee replacement, you know what I mean?
Right,
so it was fun. We had a lot of fun, busy clinic, fast-paced, big corporate environment, and did that for a while, and then realized that, maybe I wanted to come back home, and Mike and I had been having this idea to open up this clinic, and then he left the Red Sox, and then we put this clinic together last year. Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah.
congratulations. That's great. Was there anything like particular that happened that you said, oh, aha, this, I'm not going to do this anymore, or aha, now I want to do, I want to do my own clinic? I mean, was there
Yeah, I mean,
something like
it
that?
was bittersweet for me to leave. I loved being down there. It was a great experience. I had a lot of power down there. I was down there for a while. I was one of the senior therapists with Kevin. Kevin's been doing this for 25 plus years. And then him and I kind of developed this partnership bond down there and published a lot of stuff. And it was fun. I really loved it. Like I said, I had a lot of influence on what was going on in the rehab down there. The docs trusted us, and I really liked that. They trusted their therapist to come up with the protocols, not it was their protocol. So it's tough for me to leave. But, after 10, 12 years, you get a little tired of the rigmarole and the day-to-day just get beat down by insurance companies and the volume of patients. And so Mike and I had been chatting for a few years, and then it finally all came together that it was time to put this together up in Boston.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool. And when did you guys open the doors?
We opened last June. I think it was around June 7th is the exact date. I didn't join them till July 7th. I had to give 4 weeks notice in Alabama, and I wanted to respect that. It all kind of came together very quickly towards the end. We had a different plan that we were looking to do, just opening up, independent in a, maybe 3,000 square foot facility. And then we were approached by this baseball academy that we're currently in. And it all kind of came together quickly, and then I had to give my notice and get out so I could get up here. And they opened up in June, and I joined them in July.
Wow, congratulations.
Yeah.
That's really awesome. So it's just almost exactly a year.
Almost a year, exactly. Crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, happy birthday.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah, that's really awesome. So when you guys were starting, I mean, was there anything that you, was there anything that you were like, well, I'm not sure this is going to work out, or we've got this big hurdle we've got to get through? Was there anything like that you guys had to work through, whether individually or together?
Yeah, absolutely. Every day we worry. Every day we're trying to figure out what's best for our clients, how we can get more people in, and we can talk about the business probably soon. But we're not just PT; we do sports performance as well. So we're always trying to build. PT has done pretty well, and it's kind of self-referring itself, but we still looking to build that, and maybe even take on more therapists in the future. But we're still always trying to figure out ways to get clients in for sports performance and training. We'll talk about that, I would imagine, that model. But yeah, you never know. Who knows if people find your business valuable to them? You got to create value for your community and for the people that you think you're going to serve. And so it's up to us to get the name out. And, we sent out press releases, and having Mike, having him being previously with the Boston Red Sox helped. And he had a little niche up here. We actually did a little beta test the year before, and he actually worked in a clinic, just working in a personal training type clinic. And he just brought a table in there and worked, and just without advertising, people were coming to him and finding him. Word was getting out. And then that was kind of the word that we needed to, put this together and do our own thing versus renting space with them, for him. So it snowballed, and it's continuing to snowball, and it's doing very well. People have responded well. They see value in us, which is great.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Awesome. Well, I just looking at your website, I see that you guys offer a lot of value to your patients and clients.
We do. And just to go off the website, Mike developed that website. So he is a very talented guy, as you guys probably know. He's probably one of the first people that I know that really used the internet to his advantage and create his blog. And, when you're the first one, like an iPhone, Apple creating the iPhone, you tend to get market share for a while. And I think, he did that, and it's pretty amazing that that he was able to foresee that. And he's a pretty good business mind and a PT, and just entrepreneurial. He's been doing this since he was a kid. Like I said, I've known him since we've been young. So he's got a very good talent for many things. And so the website, is not. We didn't have to pay somebody to do that. It was his time and effort, and he puts that together and continually upgrades it. Yeah, it's great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So is there anything, let's see, like in your partnership, do you guys have separate roles, or have you guys defined like, okay, I'm doing this and you're doing that? Like, it sounds like he's doing the website.
He does the website. So he develops. He's kind of foreseeing. He steps ahead. So I'm more or less the day-to-day managerial. I'm the director of physical therapy. Can you see me, quote unquote, the director of physical therapy? And so I'm doing the day-to-day managing the sports guys, the sports performance guys, or our trainers, the PT stuff. I'm running the daily stats, making sure we're doing okay, all that. And he's helping to design programs. He's updating the website. He's trying to get people in, he's doing a lot of that. He's doing the Facebook ads. He's developing web pages, So we're about to launch our summer stuff, and he's just been developing those web pages, for that. And then once people get in, I'm managing, the business, the day-to-day stuff. So it's kind of split that way once we got rolling.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yep.
Now, tell me a little bit about like your day-to-day. So you've got the physical therapy side, and you've got sports performance.
Correct.
So what is a regular day for Lenny like?
A regular day, I wake up and I walk my dogs so they don't pee in our living room. But otherwise, regular day is it's great to have your own schedule. So I don't have to be in the office at 7 in the morning and see patients. So I wake up, and once I get the coffee brewing and breakfast on the table, I'm running stats and reports from the previous day. And then I usually start seeing clients. I'm about a half hour from work. So once I make my way through Boston traffic and get to work, I start seeing clients at around 10, 11 o'clock, and then we're busy all day long. So Mike and I are both seeing clients from, say, 11 till 6, 7 o'clock at night. And we're going pretty straight through. And then our sports performance guys, our personal trainers, we have two trainers. They're seeing clients. We've begun a morning boot camp, so 6 o'clock and a 7 o'clock boot camp, which has kind of flourished the past few weeks. We offered a summer slim down program where people can get in and try our programs out for 28 days. And we took some baseline measurements of them, and we'll see how they do in 28 days, and then try to get them to come in and join some of our core offerings. But so 6 o'clock and 7 o'clock, we get some boot camps, and then our personal trainers offer some semi-private personal training or sports performance till around 10. Then they shut it down until 1 o'clock, and then they'll work until 7 o'clock at night. So we got the schedule made that they're alternating schedules. They're still getting their 8-hour days, but it depends on who's in early and who's in late. So
right.
So yeah,
awesome.
So we got all that going on all day long, and now that baseball is up and running, we got a lot of baseball kids coming, for whatever aches and pains that they got going on. But then also with the summer coming, we have our sports performance programs that will be up and running for them as well. So there's a lot coming on. Yeah.
That's great. Let me back up and ask you a couple specific things about like how you guys are running your practice. Just
Right.
what are you guys using an EMR? What are you doing for like documentation?
Right. So we did a ton of research. Him and I sat down, and we sat down with all the web PTs, and we really impressed with web PT and all these other different ones. And we ended up settling with going with MindBody for our scheduling. So scheduling, we use MindBody, and billing, we use MindBody. After all the research and everything else, we settled on Google Drive. Google Drive is HIPAA compliant, and so we do all of our SOAP notes on Google Drive, and it's worked very well because it goes to the cloud. We have access to it whenever we want, wherever we want. I can be out in the gym with a client, and I can pull up their note on my phone and update their note live, and it automatically updates it, and it's been great. So HIPAA compliant and safe and very effective for us.
That's awesome. Now, do you guys have like are you doing a running tabular note, like the date and then what's going on? Do you have like a little template that you fill in?
Exactly. Well, once I type the eval, so the eval is just a straight up SOAP note, subjective, objective assessment plan, and I'm just typing away. And then I'll cut and paste or copy and paste to the next date that the client comes in. Obviously changing assessment, changing subjective, keeping the objective stuff. This is what I do personally. And then update the objective as they come in, day to day. If I'm updating range of motion, swelling, whatever I'm updating. And then the plan will basically stay unless I change it. And so, yeah, that's what we do. We just copy and paste and just update the stuff that we need to update, but keep the core stuff in the note. And then the MindBody has been a great scheduling tool for us. Basically used a lot in kind of personal training world, yoga world, stuff like that. We found it very effective and great customer service with MindBody. So we've had that. We've had some good times with them. Yeah.
That's awesome. Are you using MindBody for patients to schedule or like to reschedule their appointments?
We haven't done that yet. They don't have access to it on their side yet. We've talked about it because it would be nice, because I don't know, what we do now is we don't really have a live phone. We use Grasshopper. So if somebody needs to call and schedule, or somebody needs to change an appointment, they call our generic voicemail, which sends an email to me, and I need to then listen to that voicemail and figure out where I need to send it next. Is it for a strength coach? Is it for me? Is it for Mike? And so, yeah, it would be nice if somebody needs, hey, I got to change from 3 to 5. They can access the page and just change their own appointment. We have discussed it, but we haven't used it yet.
Okay. Yeah. I use that as I teach yoga, and I've got the apps on my phone, so I can check people in if the computer goes down because they use Mind Body, and it's really easy and simple.
It really is. They did a good job. They actually updated their app recently, and it looks really good. And I really like that functionality of it, and it works well. If I'm driving, or if I'm sitting in traffic, I should say, because I definitely don't look at my phone while I'm driving.
Right.
But I'm always looking at my schedule to schedule somebody or reschedule somebody, or checking people in if I'm sitting in traffic. So it's been very functional for us. Yeah.
Yeah. And you guys have group classes, is that right?
Yeah. Yes, we do. So we do morning boot camps. We have a 6 o'clock boot camp, a 7 o'clock boot camp, and then we do a 9 o'clock boot camp. That's Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And then for the people that want the after work, we do a 6 o'clock boot camp on Tuesday, Thursday. And then we have a 10 o'clock boot camp on Saturday mornings. We also do, which I think is huge, this is another thing, another group class that we do, our kids. Our 10, 11, 12-year-olds can work out in a group. And this has been one of our most explosive classes. This class has taken off. We had to create a second class. Kids are begging to get in. They want to get in. Their parents are calling saying, so-and-so's friends have been in it for months, and she wants to get in. And it's the 10, 11, 12-year-olds. And for people out there listening, those are the kids that are going to give you business for the next 5, 6 years until they go to high school or until they go to college. So the kids, if you can get those, we have a great program with them. It's not like they're doing strength training. They're not doing benching and deadlifts. They're bouncing around. They're playing. They're working on agility. They're working on landing techniques with the girls and the guys, things like that, basic movement skills. And, they start trusting you. They build a relationship. They then go to high school. And next thing you know, they're playing a sport, they're playing soccer, and they tweak a hamstring. They're going to come to you, So getting these kids in young, 10, 11, 12, they're clients for life, So it's been a great thing for us.
That's an awesome program.
Yeah.
Now, how I want to ask about a little bit more about that. Let me just ask 2 other questions, like specific practice stuff. So when your patients come in, you guys, are you all cash based, or are you mix of insurance?
No, we're all cash based. The only thing that we're insurance are minor league and major league baseball guys. So we've got a few guys that are coming in that we have to still write out HICFAs and submit to their workers' comp insurance, and then chase that money down. Which that's what I do. That's part of my responsibilities is keeping up with that. And it can be challenging as we know, and that's back to my insurance days, which I didn't have to do in Alabama. We had front desk for that, so
right.
for our staff. But as part of my responsibility is to chase that money down, and it can be a challenge. But that's the only thing we do that's not cash. Otherwise, everything is cash, credit, or check.
Okay. Yeah. All right, great. And then for your patients, are you giving them a super bill or HICFA, or sending them some kind of receipt?
So yes, we use FreshBooks, which is an accounting software, FreshBooks, and we have set it up that we input the client's information, and on every Sunday they get a receipt automatically generated that's emailed, a PDF that has all the visits for that week, all the ICD-9 codes, which will be ICD-10 codes, I guess, in October. Shoot me. And then all the codes, our NPI numbers, anything that they would need, and they know ahead of time that they need to submit that to their insurance company to get potential reimbursement. Okay. So every Sunday, that's automatically generated. As they come in, we input that. So by the end of the day, I've checked everybody out of Mind Body. I've inputted their units into FreshBooks, if I did 2 units of manual, 2 units of neuro, and then that gets sent out on Sunday mornings.
Okay, and is FreshBooks like an accounting software, kind of like QuickBooks or something different?
Yeah, I would say, yes, definitely. So you can kind of keep track of projects. You create a project as your client, and then you can add the units and everything that you're utilizing, and then basically a lot of manual, a lot of neuromuscular re-ed. We do hour treatments essentially, or half-hour treatments for most of our people. So, usually 2 units of one, 2 units of the other, something like that, are what most people are getting. And then, it just automatically generates. Yeah, so but it's an accounting.
Awesome.
Yep.
Awesome. And so let's see. Your office is behind you. Is that correct?
Yeah. So I'm sitting in.
Pick up your computer and let's see it.
So this is our gym, and that's I don't know what time is it. It's like 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
1:30. So our personal training people, I see somebody doing something. So at 1 o'clock we open up again for our personal training clients. So
okay.
Maybe people starting to trickle in on today's date. And then this way, to my right is a door. Yeah, on the other side of that door is loud right now is PT. So we have 3 plinths in there, 3 tables, and that's where the action happens for PT.
Okay. Do you guys do private treatment rooms, or you just have like this kind of community treatment room?
No, Mike and I both are from a world of openness, open tables. I shake when I have to go into a private treatment room. So no, we got three tables right next to each other, and everybody has handled it well. Obviously, if somebody feels funny, then we can sense that. But nobody has ever said anything about needing a private treatment room. We're needling people, we're needling glutes. We're doing all that stuff. And they're athletes. They're used to stripping down in front of whatever. Well, not that we get naked in the clinic, but
right.
The glute is showing. We're draping appropriately and not showing the vitals. But you may see a glute stick out every once in a while.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah. And so, what kind of treatments do you guys do? Like, you sound like you're doing a lot of needling and some manual stuff.
Yeah, a lot of manual stuff. People are coming to us because a lot of times they have been ignored. We get a lot of people that are going to PT elsewhere, and they just go in and. Not that I'm saying that the listeners are like that or anybody that you deal with are like that. We get a lot of people, and we know a lot of people are going to PT and they get 5-6 exercises. They go in there doing themselves, and then they walk out and pay their copay, and then that's it. So we get a lot of people that are unhappy with their current PT, previous PT, had surgery for their PT, and never really got the results they wanted, and they come to us, and so we give them that one-on-one PT client attention for a good hour. And so we're doing a lot of hands-on stuff, a lot of hands-on strengthening, soft tissue work, some instrument-assisted stuff, dry needling, some modalities, not much, and then a lot of strengthening exercise to kind of lock in those gains. That's what I tell my clients is we're going to loosen you up. We're going to hopefully improve your range of motion or whatever. We need to lock those gains in with some stability stuff, whether it's core stability or shoulder stability, if it's an overhead athlete or anything. So we're always, and they buy in. We're not seeing people 2 to 3 times a week like the traditional PT. It's once a week, maybe once every 2 weeks, where people are responsible for their home exercises. And we give them a good program. We email everybody their pictures, descriptions of their exercises, and then they're on their own and they can chime in. It's almost like concierge PT, where they have our emails, our phones, and they can, on Saturday evening, hey, so-and-so just texted me they're sore. We need to, give them a little advice on Saturday evening. So we're there for them, and they know that, and they love it. They see that as value for them.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really great. And yeah, I think that's huge. I mean, I've seen a lot of people, a couple of new people last week, I went to so-and-so for PT, and all I did was stand on the bike and sit down, and no one talked to me or no one touched me where I hurt and that kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Never mind billing for bike. My God, talk about a scam. Unless you're specifically working on something, you can't bill for bike. And I saw that a lot in previous places, and I never did that. I was vocal against that, but come on. Yeah. Somebody comes in and they're warming up on the bike and you're billing for that.
Aerobic exercise, come on.
You're crossing a fine line right there. But people get away with it. We're trying to maximize our billing. I understand that, but there's got to be better ways. And we recognize that. We saw that was going on, and that's not what we wanted to be a part of, Mike and I. And we put this together for a reason. We have our freedoms now. It's been fun. It's been good. You really got to find your niche, though. That's huge, is to find your niche.
Yeah. So what's your niche? Is it baseball, or is there specific?
We obviously do a lot of baseball. So this, as you can see, that's our facility. But then I don't know if you can see off in the background, those are batting cages. So as I alluded to earlier, everything kind of came together quickly at the end when this baseball academy approached us and wanted to put PT in-house. And so we sublease half the space here. And they have 150 kids that belong to this academy. So being in Waltham is kind of, we'll say, a blue collar town, that, Americana kind of outside of Boston, kind of thing. Surrounding Waltham are very affluent neighborhoods where a lot of these kids come from. So these kids come to this facility to train for baseball, but then they also recognize the strength and conditioning portion. So the facility makes all of their kids, or all the kids can sign up for our strength and conditioning programs, which when we heard that that was going to happen, we definitely wanted to sign on, because we knew that we had access to all these kids and their parents friends and so on, which could be potential leads in the future, And so when we heard that was big for us to be able to get access to that. And then word gets out, and now other baseball communities are starting to hear about us, or the parents are starting to hear about us. And so our big niche is baseball because of the baseball academy here, the Farm Baseball Academy. And then obviously CrossFit. CrossFit people, I highly respect what they're doing and what they're trying to do, but they do get hurt like any other sport. And these people are very motivated people. They are trying to perform better in their sport called CrossFit. And they may be doing some things that are extreme, or that may put a lot of stress on their joints. We educate people on that, and some people shouldn't be doing that. The person that hasn't really worked out a lot and is doing some high level stuff on the rings or whatever, we got to educate people. Maybe they don't have the range of motion. Maybe a 50-year-old should be on the rings. And, maybe their range of motion is just never going to be that way, where they can get full shoulder flexion, or maybe their lumbar position is not where it needs to be. Maybe they have excessive lordosis, or they're tight and all that. So we're always educating people on things. So CrossFit and baseball have been big for us.
Awesome. Is there anything specific that you guys are doing to market to those communities and those niches?
Yeah, I mean, we about a month ago, we went out to a CrossFit facility and did a 1-hour lecture on improving your overhead position. And all the coaches at that facility sat in on it, and they loved it. And we recorded it. We'll probably use it as further marketing on our website. It went really well. We had people, begging to get in. They were taking our business cards as we were walking out, because everybody can associate. They hear the points that we're trying to get across, or things that a lot of the CrossFitters are lacking in shoulder mobility, or they have too much mobility. Maybe they're previous gymnasts or swimmers that are still trying to stay active, and they have a lot of mobility. But that means they're going to, they may not have the dynamic stability to keep up with CrossFit. And so we visit CrossFit facilities. Mike actually joined a CrossFit facility before we opened up, to kind of see what they did and get relationships. And we have a bunch of relationships with gyms around Boston. That's our biggest referral source. Personal trainers, the personal trainers around here, we have great relationships with them, and they recognize that some things may be out of their control, and that PT would help their clients improve. We're not going to take their clients from them and try to turn them into our personal training clients. We're not going to step on their toes, but we can help their clients improve their performance. And then when the client sees that their trainer is sending them to PT and they get that relationship, the client so buys in, and they see that as their personal trainer is trying to make them better by sending them to some top-notch therapist in the area. It's been a great thing to really to market to the trainers as well. That's
great. Now, is there, how do you go about getting that introduction to the trainer? It's like someone brand new you don't know. What are you guys doing to get those introductions?
Yeah, I mean, again, we're fortunate that Mike is pretty known in Boston, and he's been up here for a while with the Red Sox and et cetera. So a lot of people know him already and his website. So that has helped as well. And then just, social media, just meeting you on social media. We connect with a lot of people on Twitter and Facebook. We're having a conference next week, June 6th. We're hosting a seminar here where trainers are invited. Trainers, PTs, strength coaches are all invited. ATCs are invited to listen to. It's a one-day seminar that we're doing. And so trying to invite people in to learn our system, build relationships that way, and then, maybe they'll send people in the future,
Awesome.
Yeah.
Are you guys charging for these seminars, or are you doing them for free? Or
we're charging for this one, and we had an early bird special that ran out, and then the full price kicked in, and it kind of blew us away how many people. We actually had to cut off the registration because we have limited space here to seat everybody and to do a good course and to have a lab. So we had to cut people off. And we have about 80 people signed up, which was far exceeded our expectations.
Wow, that's phenomenal. That's amazing. That's really cool. Yeah, I've done some similar stuff where I've done yoga workshops, like power yoga for back pain and shoulder issues, and running workshops. I mean, I think that's a great model. It's worked for me, and more people show up and you charge for them, even if it's $20, versus
right?
free.
Isn't that crazy? Yeah, but they see value in it, which is great. They, people are willing to pay a little cash and feel like that's a good value for them. Yeah, I know, it's amazing. You charge a little money. It's like putting that piece of furniture out on your front lawn and somebody steals it. Or nobody takes it, and then when you put a little sign on it that for sale, somebody steals it.
Right.
So it's similar that way.
Yeah, that's awesome. Are there other things that you guys are doing marketing wise, or are you guys doing advertisements? I know you said social media stuff. Can you tell us a little bit about what you're doing there?
Facebook has been huge. Yeah, I mean, Facebook. I don't know how much you use Facebook for your facility and for your consulting. I think you do a lot, but it's been big. You can really direct a lot of. You can be really specific in what you want to do with your marketing with Facebook. If you want to deal in a certain neighborhood of females that are between the ages of 18 and 40, that you can put all these specific variables in, and then you blast out your advertisement to that certain demographic. For us, like I said, we try to market to a lot of kids. A lot of what we do are 18 and younger. Unfortunately, Facebook doesn't allow you to market to that particular demographic, so we got to market to their parents. And it's been effective, believe it or not, to try to figure out what the parent is of these kids, to try to get the kids in. We ran a speed camp, what was it, last year, maybe late last year or earlier this year. And we were trying to target high school kids that are under 18. And so we had to try to figure out the demographic of the parent of the high school kid that would want speed camp,
Right.
So little things like that. So Facebook's been big. We actually just ran an old school ad in the New England Baseball Journal. So it's a pretty popular journal for high school, college athletes to just read about, their peers that are making it big or playing well in different college levels. And so we ran a little ad in there. We'll see if that turns into anything. That's something new for us, which is throwing an ad out in the New England Baseball Journal. So we'll see how that works out. But Facebook's been big. LinkedIn, I got a couple people. I had a guy from India. He's the head trainer for an Indian soccer team, and the CEO of the Indian soccer team was in Boston getting his MBA and found me on LinkedIn and wanted his CEO, who's at Harvard getting his MBA, to come and see me for an ankle injury. He sprained his ankle doing like cricket or something like that down in Rhode Island.
Right.
So, long story short, I ended up with this Indian CEO getting his MBA at Harvard because his head trainer from over in India found me. So it's you never know what you're going to deal with when you deal with social media, as you know.
Right. Yeah, totally. Yeah, that's awesome. That's really cool. That's great. Is there? Are you doing the Facebook marketing? You guys have someone helping you guys out, or is Mike doing that?
No, Mike does all that. He's pretty gifted, so he's trying to figure out Facebook's algorithms, and it's trial and error. You send stuff out, and, it may not get a response, and with Facebook, the more clicks you get, the more costly it gets. So which is good. So more people are clicking on open the page, and you see that the price goes up. But that could be a good thing because you may get more return on your investment if more people are clicking on the page. So he's kind of developed all that, and so it's actually worked out pretty well with the Facebook thing. That's our current summer slim down challenge. So we got back in early May, we were trying to build our summer clientele up. So we said, let's put together a 28-day slim down challenge. So we ran a Facebook ad, and we got 38 people signed up for it. So it was a front end offer.
Wow.
38 people came in. They got their baseline measurements. They joined our programs. They joined our strength and conditioning or our personal training program, or they have an option: personal training or boot camp. So semi-private personal training, kind of in a group, 3 or 4 people going at once, or a boot camp. And we had 30 people sign up. So we hope to turn at least half of those into core clients that'll sign, a 3-month or longer contract that want to stay with our strength coaches,
Yeah, that's great. So tell me a little bit more about how you're using the strength coaches and their programs, and, because that's one thing that may be a little bit different, or it's a different model. But also I learned a ton initially from strength coaches and personal trainers and marketing and stuff. So tell us what they're doing.
They came recommended to us. One was already here at the farm when we came in. We took him in. He was an employee of the farm, so we took him over. And another one was recommended to us by Eric Cressy over in Hudson, in Cressy Sports Performance Facility. And so we took both of them on last June. And you take on 2 employees, and you haven't even opened your doors yet. You're like, oh crap, can we pull this off? And they so their responsibilities are to do the assessment for the new clients and develop a personalized program for them, whether it's the kids, whether it's an 18-year-old college baseball player who's here for the summer, or if it's the 55-year-old rock climber, or the 50-year-old worker who just wants to get a little more toned. Their responsibilities are to do that assessment, and then and to come up with a personalized program. That's what we try to advertise. This isn't you just come in and you just work out and you're just doing what everybody else does. You are getting a personalized assessment and a personalized program based off of your findings. So we use FMS. Strength coaches use an FMS. They use a questionnaire to kind of get the client's history, what their goals are. And then we do other tests too, looking at some performance stuff that they can do. And then they get a basic program on that first day. Maybe some foam rolling, and maybe some stretching, and maybe some basic core stuff. And then coaches will build a program after that, a nice program that the client will do for that month.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
And then are you guys you say you're selling packages, so how are you selling packages to people, and what's the lead into that? I mean, it sounds like you got this Facebook ad to the boot camp, the 28-day boot camp to. So tell me about how you guys are doing that.
We use that as a front end offer, and that front end offer gets people in, and then we want people to potentially. We think a 3-month program is going to be at the minimum ideal for somebody trying to see gains in their performance, in their well-being, in their appearance. So we'll get them to sign a 3-month contract, potentially. So we do offer 1-month contracts. We offer 12-month contracts. So we offer 1, 3, and 12-month contracts. And every month they would get a new program written for them. So, and that's the beauty of MindBody, is it'll keep track of these contracts, and after 30 days or 28 days, it'll automatically bill their credit card that's been on file, and then we see these in our reports. And we can develop a new program. The strength coaches know after 28 days we need to develop a new program for this client based off of their goals and their needs and how they did on the previous program, and then after 3 months, it automatically renews unless they tell us otherwise. So MindBody knows to regenerate a new 3-month contract for this client. And we're fair with people. We're certainly, if after 3 months and 4 days they say, maybe this isn't for me, obviously we'll take care of that and fix whatever has to be fixed in the system and refund whatever has to be refunded. But most people want to stick on with us. They want to stay with us, and do 3 months and then another 3 months, and next thing you know, they're doing a year. And well, hopefully, because we haven't even been open a year yet, but maybe they start thinking long term. It's cheaper. The prices are cheaper the longer you go out.
Right. So, yeah. So it kind of got fuzzy a little bit back there, but
oh, my bad.
No, that's okay. It's just connection stuff. But so it sounds like you guys are using in MindBody. You can put in a 1-month package, a 3-month package, and 12-month, and then it auto renews.
Yes, auto renews every month, every 3 months, every 12 months. Correct.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that's really great. And then what percentage of the people coming through your door are in a personal training versus the physical therapy?
Oh, I would say, I don't know. I don't know if it's 50-50. Mike and I probably see 6 to 10 a day, so we may see 12 to 15 clients. Because we had this bump recently, I would say now our summer slimmed down and we've added a lot of people to the program. We may be getting in a personal or in a boot camp class 9, 10 a class. So you end up getting 20, 25 personal boot camps, and then some sports performance, personal training. I don't know. It's almost like 3 to 1 now. It seems like. Yeah. With personal training, boot camp, you want to include all the fitness compared to PT.
Yeah, awesome. And then do you guys have a goal? Is your goal to have, X number of people a week, or a certain number of, therapists, working with you guys?
Yeah, I mean, we haven't really, I think we haven't really developed that yet, necessarily a goal of a specific ratio. Right now it's Mike and I, 2 PTs. We have talked about maybe bringing on a third one part-time just to kind of test the waters out and see. We're trying to look at the legality and the regulations involved with that, with insurance companies, and who's in network and who's out of network, but we're still at the beginning stages of that. And we may bring on a new strength coach. We're in the process of potentially hiring an intern and maybe bringing him on potentially, and just some part-time stuff. Maybe he does the mornings. And then we're growing. We'll see how the summer goes, because then come the fall when baseball's over, all these kids that have been playing ball all summer now return to us for their off-season conditioning. So we really bump up, and we get about 100, 140 kids show up and are ready for their conditioning. And so we need to now work them into the schedule that has already been developed for our personal training clients, our sports performance clients, and our boot camps that have now hopefully flourished since the summer, So I don't know, this fall looks promising for us.
Right. Awesome. Do you mind, like, so one of the big kind of questions that a lot of people have had is, there's cash-based physical therapy. It's only a one and done type of deal. Like, it's a one-person time trade type of thing. But you guys have, there are 2 PTs, 2 strength coaches.
Yeah.
Do you mind sharing, like, how'd you like jump into that model, and how are you guys, are the strength coaches employees? Like, can you tell a little bit about the setup? And you don't have to disclose anything you don't want to, but can you just give us an idea so that people can, like, try to replicate what you guys are so successful at doing?
Yeah, like I mentioned, Mike did kind of this almost like beta testing where he put himself out there and approached the gym and said, "Hey, I want to maybe set a table up in here." And when he reported back to me and told me how busy he was without trying, we knew something was good. And so that's why, and I don't think he wanted to take the full responsibility on himself and take this whole beast on, because it can become a beast. It's growing pretty quickly. And so I'm a second thought, I'm a second head for him to kind of bump ideas off of, and we kind of are always bumping ideas off of each other. So I would say to the listeners out there is to trial it out, see how it goes. Fortunately, he's been with the Boston Red Sox, so he was out of network with insurance companies. So I think you really got to look into the local laws and regulations, and that's what we're doing. We're doing right now in Massachusetts, is to figure out what the individual contracts are. Each contract is different, so out of network and in network benefits of everybody is throwing a loop for some cash-based PTs, because you got to make sure you're out of network. And if you're in network and trying to bill out of network, you need to bill in network. It's complicated. Right. And I was in Alabama, so I'm not even in network with Massachusetts. I've never worked in Massachusetts as a PT, so I don't have a contract. I never had a contract with anybody. So fortunately that worked out for me. But having the 2 PTs, we saw the demand and knew that we could sustain 2 PTs. And what we do, we don't pay a salary. I'm not going to say exactly our numbers, but we pay each other based off of what we see. So it's not like I have a set salary that I need to get paid, even if I only see 2 clients a day. If I see 2 clients a day, I'm not getting a lot of money that day. I recently took a trip and was off a week. I didn't get paid that week. I just don't make money that week because I didn't see anybody. And so the benefit there is you are responsible for yourself. You're responsible. Now I am a part owner of this, so I do have other reasons to bring people in, but I also have to bring people in because I need to pay myself. And so I think how can I say this nicely? I think in America, we do things incorrectly. And we've kind of set the system up here. We even our strength coaches, they get a base, but they also get incentive to bring people in. They may get a little bump in their weekly pay or their quarterly pay, depending on how many people they see that quarter. We're calculating some numbers, and they'll get potentially a bump in pay because of what they've seen for the quarter. And so there's an incentive for them to work harder. It's not just we need you to work harder and so you can make more money for us. It's we need you to work harder so you can make more money for yourself as well. And so I think most places where you work, you are salaried. You're getting $70,000 a year, and you could see 20 clients a day. You can see 3 clients a day. But if you see the 20, 25 a day, you are beat down, but you're not getting paid anymore. And very rarely you're getting a bonus. You're not getting your bonuses. You never really make bonus. You're always just short of bonus, at least a lot of places that I've heard from. So we put incentives in there for the people to build their own the mini practices. Me and Mike, and then our strength coaches. So, and it all kind of goes into one pool. And obviously Mike and I are the owners of this place. And, we have another obligation, or we have another incentive, obviously, with that. But again, it's our strength coaches have an incentive to bring people in,
Right. Awesome. And are the strength coaches, are they employees or independent contractors?
They're employees. They basically get 80 hours a week, or 80 hours every 2 weeks, I should say, 40 hours a week. we haven't really offered any insurance or anything like that. No real benefits that way. Some days off and things like that. But we're looking into potentially offering some insurance and stuff like that. We're young. We're only 4 people. We're only 4 people in the group. And Massachusetts has a pretty good. I'm not going to get into the whole Obamacare thing, but they're the first ones to develop universal health care. So their website is actually not that bad for people to get their own health care, and somewhat cheap. And we've actually looked into it, and what we could provide is maybe not the best than what they could get themselves for cost and for benefits. So we said, you know what, why don't we just have you guys do your own thing for now, and we'll figure things out down the road. Yeah.
Right. Now, back to the insurance that you were talking before about the in and out of network in Massachusetts with your universal health care. Is it in network? Is it contracted to individual therapists or to the business? And is there something different about that?
Right, that's what we're trying to figure out, Aaron. And you and I may need to talk in the future. But I called the insurance company for my own benefits, and trying to figure out what my benefits were if I wanted to go for some reason, and tell them my profession. But if I wanted to go to an out-of-network clinic, even though the therapist was in network with Blue Cross, which is my insurance, and I was told that he had to bill, or the therapist would have to bill for in-network benefits, even though I'm seeing him out of his clinic. I made up this whole scenario, and she made it sound like he could not bill for out-of-network benefits because he has in-network benefits, or he has an in-network contract. So I would think it would be the clinic. And I know actually, it's tough to say, because when we have to submit stuff and we use our clinic NPI number, and we're struggling to figure out if it's the clinic NPI number or if it's the individual therapist NPI number that's billing,
Right.
So that's our dilemma right now. That's what we're trying to look at.
That stuff is not easy, even for people that think they know what they're doing.
Correct. And there's so much gray area, and you don't want to, obviously we don't want to break the rules. We don't even want to walk the gray line, the fine line, because we don't want to be called out in the future. We want to know what's legal. We want to do this correctly. But we also recognize that there's a demand for cash-based and out-of-network rehab, PT. Right. So we want to build it. We want to help our local clients here, and we may need to. We need to do it the right way.
So are you guys, are your patients getting reimbursed for treatment in your facility?
Yeah, they do. We make it a point ahead of time to tell them, we came up with some questions that they can ask their clients. And so we email them. Once we know that they have interest in coming in, they've expressed interest in coming in, they've contacted us, I'll email them a set of questions and tell them, call your insurance company. Find out what your benefits are. Find out what your out-of-network benefits are, what your deductibles are, how many PT visits you get. Get that information. And I'd say more than 50% of the time, probably close to 70 or 80% of the time, they have some form of out-of-network benefits. Or they just say, you know what, screw it, I don't care. I know I'm going to get quality care. I want to come to you anyway. The people that do get benefits, out-of-network benefits, some are getting 70, 80, 85% of the cost of the visit, and which is basically like paying a copay anyway. If you were going to a traditional PT clinic, insurance-based network clinic, where you're going to pay $20, $30 co-insurance anyway, they're paying that essentially anyway, but they have to collect in the future. They get the receipt on Sunday that's generated to them. They submit it themselves, and then they wait for the check to come to them,
Gotcha. And so that receipt you guys generate for your patients on Sundays through FreshBooks, are you just doing that automatically for every patient?
Yes. Yeah, all of our PT clients get one. If they want to submit, that's great. If they don't, that's up to them. They know ahead of time that it's going to be that's their responsibility to do it.
Okay. Yeah. Awesome. Wow, that's really great. And like right now, like what do you? Oh, this is the other question. Another question I wanted to ask you guys. So, working with your personal trainers, you mentioned they're using the FMS to screen patients, or are you and Mike using SFMA, or are you guys just doing FMS? And how are you communicating this information and back and forth?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, a lot of clients that we see doing PT, but then they also do a conditioning program. So they may initially be PT clients, where we get them to a point where, you know what, hey, I haven't been doing a program. I've never worked out with somebody. I've been watching people out there look like they're having fun. I want to join your personal training program. And so we'll talk to the strength coach say, hey, this is what's going on. They may have a little rotator cuff issue, or they may have a little low back pain. We got over that. They do an FMS. I like you mentioned, I use SFMA. I found that to be a nice assessment tool for myself, just kind of good movement screen for myself. I'm not doing the individual toolboxes and the breakdowns. I'm using it myself, probably the way a lot of other people do. I'm not doing head to toe. But you can really pull some good things out using the SFMA, and then you can compare results with an FMS. And we put our heads together. If somebody obviously has a rotator cuff issue, we're going to incorporate some rotator cuff exercises into their personal training program. And then they probably don't need PT after that. They can just fade away from PT, and then they can incorporate their rehab into their strength and conditioning program, where maybe they're doing a deadlift, and then that's their 1A, and their 1B is maybe doing some form of lighter exercise that's incorporating what PT was, and then now they're just a personal training client, and I'm just kind of observing from a distance. And if somebody has an issue, or they may be getting sore, they may have some pain, they have access to me. They're in the system now. We want them to use us. We're not going to charge anything for that initial little conversation. Obviously, we want them to communicate with us that something felt funny. And then if we feel like they need to get back into PT, by all means, they buy in. They want to, because they know it worked before. Otherwise, I'm always communicating with the strength coaches on what we need to incorporate into their programs.
Gotcha.
Or they've been working with the strength coach, and the strength coach said, hey, they were doing a deadlift. They felt a little tweak in their low back. I've been working on their form, and they haven't really figured out yet. Well, maybe they have some kind of deficit, a stability deficit, or maybe they're tight or something, maybe some alignment thing. Maybe like Tiger Woods, they threw their SI out. Let's go there. Let's talk about it. Throw in your SI. Right? They just pop the SI joint back in, and they're ready to go. No, I'm kidding.
Right. Down here in the South, people get a crick in their neck.
Oh, I know.
I wish I had one in my backyard.
Yeah, exactly. It's a good view if you have a creek in your backyard, but a crick in your neck. No, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Lenny, I got a question from the audience. This is from Marcia, and she asked, do you guys treat any immediate post-op patients right now?
Yeah, we've actually had an increase recently, believe it or not. We get a ton of Tommy Johns. Mike and I are probably the two therapists. I'm going to go out on a limb and say in the United States that have probably seen the most Tommy Johns out of most clinics, just because of our experiences with Dr. Andrews and Mike working with the Red Sox. So I've probably seen hundreds, if not thousands, of Tommy John post-ops. And then they find us, Facebook or webpage, or just word of mouth. They find us. We get a ton, especially this time of the season. All the baseball seasons have begun. They're breaking down. So a ton of Tommy Johns. I got a lady who had autologous chondrocyte implantation and Oates procedure, so osteochondral autograft transplantation surgery. So she had a deficit in her knee, and she called around to a ton of clinics around Boston, and nobody knew what she was talking about. Everybody thought she had an ACL with a patella tendon graft, and she knew right away to not go to those clinics if nobody knew what to do. She found us. We got her. We have a meniscus repair. So we are getting post-ops. That's not going to be our niche. Our niche is the post-op that's 3-4 months out, that exhausted the PT benefits, that they can't go to PT anymore. PT, they're cut off from PT. They can walk, and so they're fine according to the insurance company. But they maybe can't run like they want to, or they can't swing a bat like they want to, or they can't do whatever they want to. They can't run their triathlon, and so they find us. And that's been a good thing for us, is that 3 to 4 month out of surgery kind of client.
Awesome. Are you guys seeing the people with the Tommy John surgeries or whatnot? Are you seeing them multiple times a week, or just still once a week?
It depends. A lot of times we see them multiple times a week. But I got a kid right now. I'm seeing a half hour twice a week, because his out-of-network benefits are not good. So I want to at least get him in and do the hands-on stuff, get his motion, swelling control, educate on what he should be doing at home, assess his end feel, and then he can do all of his, wrist stuff and isometrics at home. I don't need to stand there and watch him push into a wall, but he needs the hands-on stuff. So that's been good. Now, if you think about college kids, they got hurt playing a college sport. That team has insurance. So if the kid is rehabbing with us, and he sends that receipt, that Sunday receipt, he sends that to his primary insurance, Blue Cross. Blue Cross maybe denies it, only pays 20%. The school insurance has to pick up the rest of the balance of the PT. So people out there, if you are cash-based, you need to know that your college athletes, there is an insurance policy, a secondary insurance policy associated with their sport. And so that's been helpful for us, is to allow us to get kids in 2 to 3 times a week for Tommy Johns. We're not abusing the system. They need that. They need that range of motion. And the kids will get reimbursed for the cost of the visit, if not the primary insurance, that secondary school insurance.
So let me just make this clear. So someone, collegiate athlete, they come in and they pay you guys whatever it is, $100, $5, and they go back, you sit with the receipt, and and the insurance company, their primary insurance company, will reimburse them, and then if they don't, the secondary company from the school will get them back. And so is it costing them any money at the end of the day, or are they meeting their deductible? Or
usually not. Usually they get paid, from what I'm seeing, mostly for, I'd say a lot of what I see is at least 90% of the visit once all is said and done. They do need to jump through, the hoops and submit to primary insurance, submit to secondary insurance. Also, they need to get cleared by probably their team, their athletic trainer, or the sports department at their school, to know that they're going to go PT, and they need to fill out a form and get all that cleared ahead of time. But once that paperwork is in, they're usually good to go.
Oh, that's great to hear.
Yeah.
Now, real quick, do you guys do, like, when you see someone multiple times a week, are you doing a different charge, or do you have like different like packages for, we know you're going to be twice a week for 6 weeks or something? Are you guys doing anything different? Or?
No, it's a flat rate. So flat rate for an hour, flat rate for 30 minutes, flat rate for even 15 minutes. We do an arm care program. That's not really PT. We don't really bill through an insurance, but it's basically 15 minutes is a quarter of what the 1 hour visit would be.
Okay. Gotcha. Awesome. Well, Lenny, do you have any advice for anyone that wants to start a private practice, or like especially a cash-based practice?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot, at least what we've developed here, and you got to find your niche. I think the big thing is, don't try to be Superman or Superwoman. You need to really find your niche. If it's CrossFit, if it's baseball, if it's runners. And I've met a girl who lives in, I forget where she is, Virginia, Northern Virginia. She just does runners. She sees 4 or 5 clients a day, runners, doing well. So you got to find your niche. Don't try to take on too much at once, and get the word out. Community, talk to the community, get involved with people in the community, go to things, speak with doctors. You got to really get your name out that way too. The grassroots effort is huge, and getting local with people. We use a lot of local businesses around our facility with shirts. If we're buying things, we're not buying things, through big companies. We want to use the local people. Get your name out there. Talk to the local people. Support the local businesses, because then they'll support you back.
Right. That's awesome. That's a great point.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Lenny. I really appreciate your time. This has really been awesome. You guys are doing like such an awesome job, and just like, I don't know, there's a lot of great things going on up there. So I really appreciate you sharing everything with me and with everyone else listening.
Thank you, Aaron. Yeah, we appreciate it. And like I said, we're going to be offering a seminar in June 6th. If you can't make it, this coming fall, probably September, October, we're going to be offering a mentorship. So if anybody out there is interested, we'll be putting that information out pretty soon on our webpage, champ.pt, which I think you can see below my name. And so we're having a 2-day mentorship coming up in the fall if people are interested as well. So.
That's great. Yeah, definitely forward me that information, and I'll put it on with this interview on the show notes, and I'll put it out on my social media and everything, because that would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so where can people find you online? Champ.pt, and where are you on Twitter?
Champ.pt is our company page, and then I'm on at LenMacPT is my Twitter handle. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm always pushing stuff on LinkedIn, Facebook. Lenny Macrina is my Facebook page, but I'm on Twitter a lot, and I like to interact on Twitter, as you guys will probably see. I talk about anything from Tesla to Apple stock to what's going on in the PT world. So we have fun on Twitter, and I hope to see you guys on there as well.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you very much. This is Aaron LeBauer. LeBauer Consulting and the CashPT Blueprint, and this is the CashPT Lunch Hour. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Have a great day.